Real quick introduction. My name is Jeff Roach. I direct a team here in the Seattle area. I have a team of strategy consultants, and we do technical marketing for technology companies. Microsoft happens to be one of our biggest clients, and so if you've seen any technical marketing around EMS or cloud, probably in the last couple of years, you've probably seen some of my work on that. We focus in on mobility, infrastructure, cloud, and the likes. And so as David and I were talking about me doing this presentation, he said a big topic of interest is around bring your own device and bring your own device security and management. So went ahead and decided, why don't I go ahead and present the Enterprise Mobility Suite, now called the Enterprise Mobility Service from Microsoft, and how that can enable IT professionals and technical decision makers on bring your own device or just mobility management into your enterprise space. This can be interactive. I know I'm way out in Seattle, but I would love to field questions and answer what I can. Hopefully I won't kill you by PowerPoint. The deck only has 15 slides in it, and it's really just to carry on the conversation. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, unless you've been kind of hiding under a rock somewhere, you probably have realized that mobility is the new normal. 66% of all employees globally are using a personal device for work. Whether it's approved or not, that's a different story. But people are using their Android and iPhones or whatever mobile device they happen to use for work email. They're using it to do presentations. Your data is living out in those mobile devices somewhere, most likely, either approved or unapproved. We're also seeing a huge shift from on-premise applications and traditional WinForm applications to software as a service. It's estimated that 25% of all software, and I think this number will actually be bigger as we get closer to this date, will be delivered as a software as a service by 2020. And I say that because we're starting to see even more and more enterprise IT shops starting to deliver their core solutions either in a private cloud, offering some type of SaaS, or worse yet, something called shadow IT. I'm going to rely on the presenters there to be my eyes and ears. But shadow IT, that's that phenomena that we're starting to see in the industry where line of business owners are going directly to somewhere like Salesforce or Okta or whoever and purchasing a solution online by subscription and rolling it out to either their department or their area of responsibility. And very often, IT doesn't know about it until a help desk call comes in and says, I don't remember my password. And we're also seeing that 33% of all employees that work on an employee's premises also work away from their desks. Now, you guys live in the Southeast where it's much more sunny than it is here most of the time. So that could be on a patio, that could be at a coffee shop, that could be wherever. So about a third of the employees, when surveyed, are working remote. Now, Microsoft commissioned a study by Forrester and was asking 200 decision makers, IT TDMs, about what they were concerned about from a mobility perspective. What I thought was really interesting about the results of this study, if you look at the top 6 concerns, 5 of the top 6 all had to do with security. How do I secure my data when it is out on a device that I don't own? Or even a mobile device that I do own? Juxtapose that, cost was at the lower end of the concern spectrum. So we know that mobility is becoming a huge factor in our IT deployments. And we know that our user base, our executives, our sales teams, whoever, are wanting to be mobile. But we also know that if something happens, it's our responsibility as IT professionals to secure our company or our customers' data. So how do I balance this, my security concerns as an IT professional, and my users' desire, need, whatever, to be mobile? So how do we help our users be productive, and more importantly, secure while being productive on devices and apps they already know, while keeping our data or their data or our customers' data safely tucked in our approved silos or repositories? Well, let's take a look at, is there a question? Okay. Let's quickly take a look at an unmanaged environment. Now, this could be your typical IT shop. And when it comes to desktops and laptops, or 2-in-1s, as they're the new darling, if we watched CES last week, the user's experience is typically really, really good. We've got managing desktops and laptops down. We do it really well. They don't typically need to worry about connectivity. They have access to their assets. Line of business applications are available to them. Mobile computers with technologies like BitLocker and other things, group policy, config manager, whatever the case may be, we tend to be able to balance their productivity and our security concerns pretty evenly. Even if they're using an Apple-based computer or Mac or whatever, we tend to be able to maintain those. And in a traditional environment where it's company-owned assets, we don't have that tension about trying to need to wipe a device or lock it down or whatever the case may be. So we can use things like write management or intrusion detection, all of those tools that are in our repository to maintain our environment. But in an unmanaged mobile environment, we start to see both the user experience becomes poor, and we also see that the risks and challenges to IT also increase in an unmanaged environment. Anybody who has tried to do work on an ARM-based system, be it a Windows phone or an RT tablet, an Apple iPad, Android device, it can become challenging. If I'm not an Office 365 customer, there are only so much I can actually do on a device using the versions of Office that are available. I can try third-party solutions, but they don't always render properly. Very seldom do they render properly. Plus, I can use some level of security through Exchange ActiveSync, but I'm fairly limited on what I can do. I can maintain the lock screen. I can set timeouts. But I can't get down to that level of granular control that I can in a managed environment such as the desktop or a laptop. So let's take a scenario. This could be one of your executives. This could be one of your star sales team. It doesn't matter. But we're just going to go ahead and call him James. Now, James starts to work on a proposal on his company-issued laptop. Has all the approved tools. It has every application and access to all of the data that he needs on his company laptop. Everything works as expected. He has connectivity. He can get to SharePoint. He can get to the document library. From an IT perspective, we have access control. We know that the network is secure, that his machine is patched, etc. Everything's good for James right now because he's working on his company-issued laptop. Now, James is a family man, and his son has a ball game that afternoon. So James leaves the office, he's at his son's ball game, and he receives an email on his Android phone. Now, the best case is he gets the mail in a native app, gets it on the mail client, depending on what version of Android. I think the last statistic I saw, 40% of Android are still running operating systems that are 2-3 generations old. But worst case, he can't get the mail on his personal device and has to submit it to IT management. And that puts his deliverable in jeopardy. So if the email won't come down on one of the newer Android clients, he has to quickly phone up the IT help desk, or he has to go to the portal, enroll the device, get it approved, pull down all the company policies. This could be AirWatch. This could be whatever mobile device management solution the customer is using. And all of that's going to delay him from being able to react to some changes that need to be made to his proposal. Now, from an IT perspective, you're going to push back on me and say, well, yes, but we need to know whether or not we can trust James's Android phone. Is it at the right level that we support? Is it configured properly? Can we encrypt it? So we need to assess that because we are more concerned, typically, about making sure that our data is secure. Well, he responds by go ahead and pulling out his iPad. He goes, okay, I can't necessarily do it on my Android phone. I happen to have my iPad. I don't want to break out my laptop. It's just too burdensome. IT bought me a 6-pound laptop. My iPad Air 2 is light. So I go ahead. I know I can get my email here. I open it. And the default application is not one that we trust. He's using the default Word document there. It renders poorly. He tries to log on to get the latest version from SharePoint. He can't remember his help desk or his password, so he has to call the help desk. And again, doesn't get a seamless experience. Now, IT has to field that call, has to help reset the password, walk him through. And again, it doesn't help us from an IT perspective because we're using an untrusted, unmanaged device. Once he's able to get that proposal on his iPad, what's going to happen to that data? Anybody that wants to know about trying to secure unmanaged devices, just ask the LA Unified School District how easy it is for a group of high school kids to break, rudimentary security on iPads. They can be rooted pretty quickly. So what am I going to do? Well, here in this scenario, we have a very inconsistent user experience. The user's not happy. It's very uneven from a security perspective. And now we have data, bits and pieces of it, spread across incompatible services. This is not how we necessarily want to run our mobile initiatives. So let's talk about the Microsoft solution a little bit. Now, I am a Microsoft MVP, done a lot of marketing around EMS. So I'm going to tell you what I like the Microsoft solution over some of the competition. Now, there's a lot of competition out there that build very good products, but they tend to be very point-based solutions. And so when we look at the Microsoft model, we know that mobility is changing. Unlike laptops, which we tend to have a 3 to 5 year, when we start looking at bring your own device scenarios, we end up with a rapidly changing environment. Now, just for giggles and kicks, I can't see you guys, but how many of you change your cell phone yearly? You guys can pipe in up on stage and tell me. Lots of hands?
How many? You change your phone yearly, raise your hand.
No, not that nobody here changes their phone yearly.
Really?
2 years? Most of them change their phones every 2 years.
Oh, because they're on the 2-year plan.
Yeah.
All right. I'm guilty. I change my phone yearly. I really do. I buy my devices. I don't like to be beholden to the cell phone company on that one. And a lot of geeks, you see them. They want the iPhone 6. They want the iPhone 6S. They're going to want the iPhone 7. They bought the iPad Air. They bought the iPad Air 2. We have a rapidly changing environment. Now, because the Microsoft Enterprise Mobility Service, as it was rebranded in December, it uses the same cloud cadence that other Azure services use. That means there's a rapid release cycle, and they're adding additional capabilities and management tiers on an ongoing basis. Now, the average mobility user touches 3 devices: laptop, tablet, smartphone. And, like I said earlier, they have a shorter half-life. Also, they're inconsistent. Just like in my scenario, we had a Windows device, an Android phone, and an iPad. That's not uncommon. A lot of the competitors from the Microsoft solution are very device-centric, where Microsoft EMS tends to be very user-focused, keeping that user in mind and managing that user and managing the data rather than the device. Now, there are a lot of competitors in the last few years around, competing with Office, but Office is still the standard. If you look on, iTunes or the App Store, you look in Google Play, you'll find that the Microsoft Office suite is always in the top 10 most purchased and downloaded apps. People are still using Office. Now, they could end up with a Office 365 personal or home premium account and have editability. That's kind of frightening. We kind of almost want them to have just read-only in an unmanaged environment. But with EMS, especially now that they've introduced something called mobile application management, I can now do mobile device management type tasks on untrusted devices at the data level using Microsoft Application Management or Mobile Application Management. That's new in Intune. It's rolling out to more and more tenants as we move. And that allows me to set policies that I would normally have to set at a device level. I can now set them at the application level. Meaning, I can set documents that are in a SharePoint environment, and it will prevent them from being opened in an unmanaged version of Office or a third-party tool. Or I can lock down copy and paste. So I'm able to protect at all layers: identity, device, applications, and data. And because it is a Microsoft cloud solution, it allows me to bring in the bits and pieces that I need. It allows me to do a hybrid solution. Understand that a lot of the people listening to me speak tonight are in the data center. So when I look at using EMS to manage my mobile scenarios, I can still take advantage of all those investments that I may have had in System Center. I can extend my configuration manager and all of those rules and policies to my Intune environment. And I can then have a single pane of glass to manage both my BYOD managed in the cloud, as well as all my on-prem devices. That's why the Microsoft solution is different. There's a lot of competitors out there. There's AirWatch from VMware. We have NAS 360 from IBM. Good just got bought by BlackBerry. But they tend to have a really good specific focus area, and then they kind of bolt on some other pieces. With the Microsoft solution, I'm getting really good identity management through Azure AD. I'm getting rights management through Azure Rights Management Service that does integrate, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, with any on-prem rights management that I may be doing. And I get Intune, which also extends my configuration manager investments that I might have that I'm already managing my on-prem scenarios. So let's take that scenario again that we just looked at. Let's say now we have an EMS managed mobile environment. Now what I'm getting here is a consistent user experience across both the desktop, laptop, and corporate-owned devices. All of my IT risks and challenges, from the other slide, were still good. But now I'm extending that same mobile experience. I have consistent connectivity. I can force VPNs where necessary. I have access to all my internal resources. I can make line of business applications available through things like desktop or VDI. I can have rights management, support. I can do online self-service password resets with challenges. I can bring in multi-form factor authentication or MFA. So I get all of the security goodness from System Center and Azure. I can have a maintained, controlled device. And again, depending on your environment, if you are in, say, financial or insurance or government, you may want to go full in and have enrolled devices. Fully managed, remote wipe capabilities. But there's also, I don't have to go that far with the Microsoft solution. When I was talking earlier about application management, that's managed at the Office 365 level. Those policies are controlled through SharePoint Online, Exchange Online, Skype Business, OneDrive for Business. Again, I can deploy all of those in a hybrid scenario as well. And so I get all of this within an EMS managed mobile environment. So let's look at James again. Same scenario. Still start his proposal. We know everything is golden because he's using a company-issued laptop. Nothing's changed there. He has a good experience. Still goes to his son's ball game. He gets the email, but because his phone is known and trusted, he's able to see that email in all of its glory, even if it's a rights management. So he's fine, he can see it, it's working well. IT has the confidence because James' phone is not jailbroken. The company is maintaining security policies, corporate data is protected. Everything is working as we have planned. Which then means when he pulls out his iPad, he has the same experience. He now has a managed Office scenario. So everything is good. He can open up his proposal directly from our SharePoint site. Again, everything's working as we intend. We don't have to worry about data leakage. Device is trusted. And we end up with a much better experience across the company-owned asset and his personal devices. Let's go ahead and take a look at the core components of the enterprise mobility suite. Well, we have hybrid identity. Now, I'm just talking about the three major pieces here, but we'll go a little bit further in depth here. So with hybrid identity, using Microsoft Azure AD Premium, here I have full security reports. I can audit. I can enable multi-factor authentication. I can set up self-service password reset and group management. I can enable privileged access management, which means that I can have restricted accounts even for IT. And then as they do an IT function, we can give them additional privilege. I have single sign-on of over 2,400 third-party software as a service applications. Actually, I think that number is up to about around 3,000 last time I looked. Now, on top of this, in addition to Azure AD Premium, as of last fall, Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 is also included in my EMS SKUs. So now I can set up hybrid identity as well with my on-prem Active Directory, giving me much more robust synchronization. You know, I can set up Azure AD Sync. That's this, standard way. If I are, say, in a multi-forested environment, or I have other identity repositories that I need to manage, I can implement Microsoft Identity Manager 2016 and have a true hybrid identity. Honestly, it is the only solution on the market that goes 100% cloud all the way through a hybrid cloud scenario. Some of the competitors are using old X509 certificate-based authentication solutions that they've rebranded. They shall remain nameless. I also get Microsoft Intune. Now with Microsoft Intune, I get mobile device and application management. Again, this is user-centric. This is available to me at the Office 365 E3 or higher. Can be purchased separately on your EAs as well. This gives me the ability to separate personal data from corporate data, which means, say I as a user receive a Word document in my email, and I save it locally on my Surface 3, my personal device. It's Windows as a file system. I can save it locally. Well, let's say I get fired and our mobile administrator needs to do a selective wipe. It's kept track of that corporate data, even saved locally, and will delete all of my corporate data while leaving my pictures and personal data unharmed. That's what I get with Intune. I also get Azure Rights Management that integrates with on-prem solutions. This gives me the ability to lock down IP, intellectual property, or data, both within the cloud and on premises. It also gives my users the ability to share securely outside of my organization. If one of my users needs to send a secure document to the vendor or to a supplier, I can put policy in there. That user, when they try to open up the attachment or the email, they're prompted to install a little applet, which then they ask for the security code, be that a Microsoft account, Google+, Facebook, whatever, because using Azure AD Premium, I can have both B2B as well as B2C, so business-to-business, business-consumer authentication as well. Now, beyond just that standard 3 and Identity Manager, which I also talked about. We also get further ability in the Enterprise Mobility Suite on a new product that Microsoft launched last spring, which was Advanced Threat Analytics, which is additional security that allows me to integrate with Azure AD, my on-prem, to start looking at things such as, oh, Jeff logged in Seattle a half hour ago, and now he's logging in from Moscow. Well, since that is physically impossible, that is a compromised account, and so that we start seeing that earlier, and that's also included. And then there's additional add-ons such as virtual desktop or remote app capabilities as well. So I have this full end-to-end suite available with the Microsoft solution. So that is EMS. So let's look at these a little bit deeper. So hybrid identity. Our users are our users no matter what device they log into. We need to give them the ability to be able to access both on-prem, SaaS, Office 365, whatever the case may be. We need to give them the ability to log in no matter what device they're on. We also need to make sure that we have a single point of truth so that if my user lives in a directory on-prem, they live in an LDAP directory within a Unix environment, they have a MySQL data account, as well as multiple SaaS, be that Salesforce or 10,000 Feet or even Hightail. If I'm using any of those third-party SaaS solutions, I need to give my users a seamless experience to where with their Active Directory credential, with their corporate credential, I can give them access to all their resources. Also, as all of you know, you've all done your time in the help desk at one time or another in your career, we know that 80% of all help desk calls are password related. And for some of our users, that may be higher. When I do a hybrid identity solution using EMS, I give my users the ability to have a self-service experience so that they can reset their passwords. But I can also give them self-service to request access to additional applications, distribution groups, SharePoint sites, whatever the case may be. Again, giving them that single sign-on experience across all of the properties within my environment. And this also then starts moving IT from the realm of the providers of no to the providers of solutions. So if a line of business owner says, I need X SaaS app, using EMS, I can provide that. And it also then gives me the ability to protect my data. I can enforce strong authentication. I can do conditional access. I have governance, assertion, and reporting. From an end-to-end solution, EMS, Office 365, and Azure have more security assertions and certifications globally than any of the other competitors combined. So, be that GovCloud, globally, these are secure solutions. Let's look a little bit about user and device. We want to enable these users on whatever device they be using. Now, Intune provides management capabilities across all major mobile operating systems, including BlackBerry, Android, iOS, Windows, Windows Phone, across the board. If we require device enrollment, it is a very simple solution. In fact, today, they introduced an even more streamlined version of enrollment for iOS devices. We have the ability to securely synchronize corporate data using solutions like OneDrive for Business. Also, by using Intune and Config Manager, we can now unify cloud management systems as well as all of our on-prem solutions with.
Hey, Jeff, I think something's going on with your headset. Your voice is starting to get crackly and fading in and
Sorry.
out.
Is this better?
Sounds better.
Okay,
also,
sorry.
we should probably have a break within the next, 10, 15 minutes for a few minutes.
Okay, let me finish this slide and then we can go ahead and take a break real quick.
All right, thanks.
Simplified user-centric application management, comprehensive settings across platforms. This includes pushing out certificates. You can have VPN-aware apps, manage wireless networking. You can do geofencing. You can set default network profiles. So you're getting that corporate experience on all the mobile devices as well. And because we can manage at the data level, the device level, and the user level, we end up with a common set of tools to manage their entire experience while protecting our corporate data. All right. And I'm going to quickly get through the animation here and just talk a little bit about Azure RMS connectors and connections, and then we'll go ahead and give you guys a quick break. So with Microsoft Azure Rights Management Service, it seamlessly integrates with Office 365, be it OneDrive for Business, SharePoint. I can federate with my on-prem Active Directory, syncing those identities, and it will give me the ability to lock down how my corporate data is shared, copied, pasted from any of the repositories where our users may be storing. Across, like I said, Office 365, Windows file servers, even on-prem SharePoint and Exchange. Again, this is included in the Enterprise Mobility Service. All right. So on that note, why don't we go ahead and take a quick break. Cool. Actually, I have only one slide, and then I'll go to a quick little demo.
All right. I believe everybody's back.
Huh?
And I'm going to go ahead and cut the mic off. All right. Is there a particular view that works best for us to put it on the laptop?
Full screen mode, F11.
You have, so there's no side scrolling.
Well, there is, but I can't.
Are we supposed to be seeing two white slides there, or?
I think that's the same one must be saying I called.
Okay. So that
Should be seeing something that says EMS solution value.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. I hope you enjoyed your break and getting to talk with your fellow members. All right. As I'm wrapping up for tonight's talk about EMS, let's just recap a little bit about the EMS solution value here. Getting a little bit of feedback here. Okay. So from a customer perspective, we need to extend our corporate user's identity to multiple devices across apps that we weren't even talking about 5 years ago. We need to be able to manage multiple device types, running multiple different operating systems, and we need to protect our customers' data. Most of our end users, even though they don't think about it, are not, malevolent by nature. They may not be, thinking about securing data, but they're not out there trying to lose our data. And we as IT professionals need to deliver solutions that allow them to get the work done that they need to do wherever they're at while protecting their data. Now, the Microsoft solution using EMS gives us a hybrid identity management solution, gives us a central repository stored in the cloud. Now, I know that many people, when they hear about the cloud, especially those that have been in the industry lengths of time, they're a little bit nervous about storing sensitive data out in public cloud solutions. Just to alleviate some of that, in the last Gartner symposium, the last reports that I saw, 50%, so 500 of the global 1,000 companies are storing personally identifiable information in public cloud repositories. Now, we're seeing more and more adoption, and it's key that we choose cloud solutions that give us indemnification as well as security. It really is becoming a two-person race when it starts coming to cloud solutions, or two-company race. We also, from a Microsoft perspective, deliver mobile device and mobile application management. Now, this is one thing I do really want to stress. There are some really, really, really good MDM solutions out there. AirWatch is a leader in this space for a reason. They do mobile device management very well. So does Kaseya. So does Maz 360, Mobile Iron. All of them do MDM very well. And I realize that many of you out there probably have some investment if you're, been looking at doing mobile device management, already. You may have investments in some of these solutions. Well, let me tell you, one of the nice things that Intune now brings to the table is even in a managed device, one that's being managed by any of the third-party MDM or MAM solutions, I can still roll out and use my Office 365 Microsoft Intune benefit and manage corporate data and do mobile application management, even down to selective wipe, without unenrolling, without conflicting with other solutions. Or if I don't have any and I don't want to roll out device enrollment, I can still do it through Microsoft Application Management. When I was talking to the team months ago, back before this was announced, joked around that this was headless MAM, because the fact that we did not need to trust and manage that device to be able to secure and manage it. And so much like what we're seeing with Nano Server or Server Core being able to run servers headlessly, we now can run mobile application management headlessly because we're securing it at the data level and at the application level. And that extends to things like access and rights protection. So I can roll out all three of these solutions without even having to do device enrollment now, or even undoing, an AirWatch deployment. So this can be deployed in conjunction with any of those third-party solutions. So what are the benefits of rolling out EMS to manage my mobile solutions? I can accommodate users in different locations on different devices while maintaining corporate identity, while maintaining corporate security. I can manage just personal devices. I can manage corporate devices. I can start embracing more of a cloud mindset. I can start doing things unless I need to do destructive imaging. I can use Intune and do non-destructive imaging, pushing out corporate data to, say, Windows 10 devices. All of this I can do using EMS. And it allows me to protect all of the valuable data within my data center, within my Office 365 deployment from a single portal.
Are we supposed to have a blank screen right now? There we go. It's back. Oh, screensaver?
I'm not sure what was going on. Skype for Business lag, we'll say. Here, let me go back that one slide then. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've seen that one.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to rely on you guys again because you can see the audience and I can't. Just by a show of hands, how many of you have an Office 365 subscription, either fully cloud deployed or in a hybrid solution? Any hands going up? The crowd goes wild. Well, for those of you with Office 365,
we have 4 people with their hands up.
4 people. All right, so I'm talking to you 4. If you have Office 365 at an E3 or higher subscription level, you have basic EMS included in your subscription. If you have an E5, you have the full suite as part of that. Now, for a few dollars more, you can add the full Enterprise Mobility Suite. I see I have a typo there. I still called it FEM. It's actually MIM now. You can roll out the full solutions, or you can take just the basic ones. I'm going to go ahead and share an additional piece here. I am going to share monitor 2. Now, those of you with an Office 365 subscription, so right now you should be seeing my Office 365 portal. Is that what we're all seeing? Or should be drawing?
Yes.
So, like all good geeks, I have my own Office 365 E3 subscription for my household. You all should have one of those, right? And over here, within all of my other management tools, I have mobile management. And this allows me to have mobile device management for Office 365. Now, this is a subset of the full suite. So if I have Office 365 deployed, or you're looking at deploying Office 365, and you want to get a feel for the tools, you actually can deploy these. And so I can apply settings, control mobile devices, and it's all about, clicking the getting started here. And this is a new tenant, so I don't have anything managed yet. And right now what it's doing is actually enabling EMS for my Office 365 tenant. And this will then allow me to be able to use those solutions such as application management, device management, RMS, and AD Premium, all within this Office 365 tenant. Now, this can take up to 10 minutes. So actually, it says a few hours, so I'm not going to bore us with that. I forgot that this was a brand new tenant. So on that note, I'd like to field any questions that you may have. So we can take questions from the audience.
Wow. So it's the second person to say, obviously, Hillary didn't know about this.
Well, I'm sure that Ms. Clinton would have Office 365 EMS deployed to secure all of her email, right? Mm-hmm. No? What are you guys trying to say? No. Don't go there. That's awesome.
Okay. Now, I've never done this on a. I see you've got the mobility where you're able to set it up on people's phones. It doesn't lock their phones down at all, though, does it? For anything else other than using the Office 365 through your E3 account or other work details, does it?
Yeah. So basically, what I can set is I can extend my Exchange Active Sync policies on how long the screen can remain unlocked, whether or not they can copy and paste data. Mm-hmm. So if I have Word Mobile on say Android tab, and I can lock that down to where they can't copy and paste from a corporate Word document over to, say, Google Write.
Well, just like if they were in a virtual window before all of this, right? But yep. What if you're using like Word already on, like you have Word that came with your phone, and then you want to set this up with a phone for work? They could still
use Word. It would recognize the difference between a corporate document and a personal document. Right. So if I opened up a document, say, from OneDrive for Business into Word, my policies would be enforced. But if I opened it up from my OneDrive personal account and it was my kid's, document presentation that I'm just doing a quick once-over, it wouldn't lock that one down.
So bouncing around from your OneNote to your OneNote for Business isn't really a problem?
Not at all.
Not at all. How about utilizing spreadsheets that have passwords? I've noticed trying to do that on mobile devices without Office installed is basically impossible. Is that possible utilizing EMS to get into locked spreadsheets that you need a password to get into?
Yeah, it depends on the, if it's a local locked spreadsheet or if it's RMS. But yeah, all of my corporate policies and, I can, with the Office 365 account, so registering with my work or school account onto my mobile device unlocks all of those feature sets.
You started off discussing about email, and James was at the ball game. But what if James had this on his device, so he could look at the attachment on the email and make whatever call he had to make on that? But what happens when he forwards that on?
So with Rights Management Server, I actually have the ability to, as a user, so I email proposed changes to James. I can use Rights Management Server and basically prevent him from copying, pasting, or forwarding that email.
Oh, or forwarding. Okay. Thank you.
Including screen grabs. So outside of taking a camera and trying to take a picture of it, I've locked it down. So even if I have a third-party screen grab utility, Rights Management will block that.
I have one question. is this Enterprise Mobility Suite, is that a separate SKU, or is it part of Office 365 that has to be, the only way you can use it is to have a subscription to Office 365?
It's both.
Both. Okay.
So I get a discount if I'm an Office 365 subscriber. I can add that top tier that you see on the slide in front of you for an additional fee. I think it's about $6 a user.
Okay.
Or I can purchase the suite, and I believe purchased on its own, it's $9 a user. So I can use EMS even without Office 365. Now, if I have the new SKU, so the one that was launched December 1st, which is Office 365 E5, that includes full EMS in that price.
I see. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And no more questions, I don't think.
So
Oh, wait,
I will
actually,
try.
one more question here.
Uh-huh.
With either EMS or with the Outlook 365, if you are using it in business situation and you export the files or folders, emails to an external folder, would you be able to import it into another Outlook that is not on the domain or on the under control by that company?
So if I'm using EMS and I've locked down or protected corporate data, including email, I can prevent them from being able to export it.
Okay.
And it follows that. I've actually been able to selectively wipe devices, and it goes after the corporate data. So I've been in situations where, they've downloaded a document from their OneDrive for Business and then copied it up to their OneDrive Personal, and we're synchronizing it. And when I did a selective wipe, it was able to follow that trail and wipe that document through the metadata.
Okay. Dave? Is there anything you'd like to say to Jeff? I think so. So I noticed you didn't have your camera on tonight.
Oh, because I have a face for radio, not television.
Jeff, I can't thank you enough for doing this for us. We really, really appreciate you. This was great information shared with us. A lot of guys here are going to be able to use this. It fills in a lot of gaps for a lot of us. As I told you, I've just started this project for the BYOD using EMS, and I've gotten a lot out of it, and I'm looking forward to being able to use the information you shared. We really, really appreciate your time. Someone of your stature giving a presentation for us means a lot to us. So I think we ought to give Jeff a big round of applause. Does anyone have any remaining questions for Jeff that you'd like to voice? Yeah, we have one more question. Hold on.
All right.
The one question is, if you have a iPhone that's associated to this, do you have the ability to lock down their ability to go out to the store and download apps or that type of thing, or is that a separate functionality?
No, completely. So if you require device enrollment, you can prevent apps from being installed. And you can prevent them from even opening up, say, an application using Apple's suite to where it has to open up an Office, and it will pull down Word if they don't already have it. So you can actually create policy and force them to use a specific app to open corporate data and prevent them from installing applications. So if you do device enrollment, you can own the device just like a corporate PC. And you have the ability to do both selective wipe as well as full wipe.
answer your question? All right. Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions? You have one?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you found that in the market, people are willing to allow their own personal phones to be locked down by their companies so that they can use it, or if that's basically only done when the company provides the phones or the external devices.
It depends on the company. Bring your own device is a privilege. Companies that roll out a bring your own device solution that isn't overbearing find out that they get really loyal workers, especially as millennials and homelanders are entering the workforce. They're attached to their mobile devices. And so by smartly managing those, so if I'm in a high secure financial or audited or whatever, you make a company policy that if you want to have corporate data, then you have to enroll your device. I think this is where Microsoft made a huge win by allowing mobile application management to happen on unenrolled devices. By moving that to the data layer and the application layer, I never touch their phone. I just control their ability to manipulate or control corporate data. So it's a continuum. And a lot of it is the negotiation between your user base and IT. Selective white. Yep, so go ahead.
I was just going to say the company that I've been working with used to be mandatory that you could only use their telephones, and then they started switching over to this a year or so ago, so that they allowed personal devices, and now they're in the process of not issuing any more corporate devices because they found out that people tend not to lose their devices as quickly as they lose a corporate device.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm actually seeing that kind of thing where I work too. And on your point, Jeff, about and actually the question of whether or not people want to let their devices be used, it's going to be interesting. I know we've seen a lot of that uptake in the U.S. We've seen a lot of people that are allowing their devices, at least a portion of them, to be controlled by the company. But the one I'm working on right now is international. So I'm really going to be interested to see how that's going to work country by country, to see whether people are going to be willing to let their devices be taken over. The other thing we have to deal with that is going to be release of personal data or any kind of data outside the boundaries of a country. So that in and of itself poses an extra level of complexity that we'll have to deal with.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. So when you're starting to look at these solutions, especially cloud-based solutions, Microsoft right now has 19 regions that they have data centers in, and it's going up to 26 here quickly, with new ones opening up in the UK and Germany specifically for data sovereignty. There is an additional way to roll out cloud solutions internationally, and that's through the Cloud Service Provider Program, the CSPs. Many of them are managed service providers or hosters that maintain the data sovereignty and the data repositories, so that, say I have a customer in Luxembourg and I need to make sure that data is kept in Luxembourg for data sovereignty issues, I can go to an MSP that is reselling EMS as a cloud solution provider, and the data can remain in Luxembourg even though the management servers may be in Amsterdam or Ireland for Europe, with Germany and UK coming online. So with the CSP program, it gives you a little bit more flexibility, where you're now you're purchasing EMS through a managed service provider.
I have one more question. My carrier is Verizon, and they have an app that I have on my desktop on my computer that allows me to connect my phone to my computer and back up the contents of my phone to their cloud. Would EMS override that and block it, or? And I mean, it's mostly just to back up my contacts, maybe my calendar, and maybe my email settings. But have you run into that question before?
I'm familiar with the Verizon app, and Windows Phone users will never have to worry about that because Verizon doesn't like Windows Phone. So Android, iOS, you're going to run into that. But yeah, I can still lock down corporate data. So I can prevent it from being copied. Typically, though, if I'm doing mobile application management or mobile device management, very seldom does corporate data actually end up living on the device. Most of these devices have very little in the way of local file storage. Android device with a micro SD card, I can prevent it from being saved locally. iPhones typically, or iPads, can't store locally, but I can prevent them from saving it up to iCloud or Box or Dropbox. Now the good news, both of those providers are also partnering with Microsoft, and they are Active Directory aware using Azure AD Premium, and so I can actually extend my Office management to those as well.
I have Office 365 on my phone. My subscription expired, but I have the full version, if you will, of Office, and I just wondered if I was being overlooked. And then I have OneDrive access to my home PC, if you will, and also my phone. Is OneDrive going to be always there, or someday I'm going to wake up and it's going to be gone?
This was Office 365 Home Premium.
No, I think, well, I have the premium edition of Office right now, but I just had the home business Office 365 subscription at one time. And obviously it's no longer on my PCs, but it's on my phone.
Interesting. And you're still able to access data that's there?
Yeah. I don't use my phone very much. I mean, I'm an old guy, and, you know, I use a PC rather than a phone.
Gotcha. Yeah, what's your phone? It's interesting that OneDrive for Business would still be there.
It's a Nokia Microsoft phone.
Oh. Phone 7 or 8?
What are you saying? I'm sorry?
Are you running 7 or 8 on that phone?
Windows 7 or Windows 8?
Probably 8.
8?
I'm almost sure it's 8.
Yeah, so the OneDrive application was updated to allow you to have both business and personal in one account. Yeah, from my understanding, you know, an expired Office 365 account they don't delete the data, they keep it secured in case you want it to reactivate it. I believe that's up to a year.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm pushing maybe over a year, I'm not certain. Well, probably over a year because I bought a PC, I bought the subscription like a year ago, Black Friday, if you will, so a year and a half. It's been expired since Black Friday.
I would suggest you might want to go down to the local Microsoft store and talk to them, see what they can do for you.
I'm not complaining.
Or check your credit card statement. You may be still being billed $9.99 a month for it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. My wife's pretty close with that.
Well, I think that's probably all the time you have, Jeff. I want to thank you again. One last round of applause for Jeff, and thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.